The 1970s were the golden age of American dining, when restaurants weren't just places to grab food, but destinations that promised glamour and adventure. Tonight, we're exploring 20 magnificent restaurants that once ruled America's dining scene, only to vanish into history. These weren't just businesses that failed, they were dreams that succeeded for decades before the world changed around them. So grab a seat at our table, because we're about to take a nostalgic journey through America's most beloved dining destinations. Number 1. Howard Johnson's The Orange Roofed Empire. You know that feeling when you're on a family road trip and spot that distinctive orange roof? That was pure relief, folks. Howard Johnson's, or Hojo's, meant comfort food, clean restrooms, and 28 flavors of ice cream that could make any cranky kid happy. Founded in 1925, this chain experienced rapid growth in the 1970s, with over 1,000 locations dotting America's highways like orange beacons of hospitality. What made Hojo's special was consistency. Whether you were in Maine or California, you knew exactly what you were getting. Famous fried clams, juicy burgers, and ice cream sundaes that made every road trip feel like a celebration. Unfortunately, as McDonald's revolutionized quick service, Hojo's couldn't keep pace. The last location closed in 2017, ending nearly a century of highway hospitality. Number 2, Steak and Ale, where two-door meets T-bone. Norman Brinker had a brilliant idea in 1966. Why should only rich people get great steaks and fancy atmospheres? So he created Steak and Ale, where two-door style architecture meant perfectly grilled beef at prices regular folks couldn't afford. Walking into these places felt like entering a medieval castle, complete with dark wood paneling and the famous salad wagon wheeled right to your table. This was dinner theater for the middle class, and America fell in love. Families would dress up for steak and ale like they were going to the opera, but the casual dining revolution changed everything. People stopped wanting to dress up for dinner. Despite attempts to modernize, the chain filed for bankruptcy in 2008, with the last location closing in 2020. Number 3, Victoria Station, all aboard the Dining Express. Imagine dining in an actual Victorian-era train car. That's exactly what Victoria Station delivered starting in 1969. These weren't just restaurants. They were authentic railroad cars converted into intimate dining rooms with plush velvet seating and all the romantic ambience of the golden age of rail travel. You'd slide into your booth and order prime rib while feeling like you were traveling to some exotic destination. At its peak, Victoria Station operated 100 locations across America, each one a piece of railway history. But novelty wears off, and as dining trends shifted toward casual experiences, sitting in a formal train car felt outdated rather than elegant. The last Victoria Station pulled into its final stop in 1992. Number 4, the Brown Derby, Hollywood's crown jewel. Wilson Misner built a restaurant shaped like a giant brown derby hat in 1926, but the Brown Derby became way more than an architectural curiosity. It became Hollywood's unofficial dining room. Walking into the Brown Derby on Vine Street meant walls covered with caricatures of movie stars and a genuine chance of spotting Cary Grant at the next table. This was where deals were made, careers launched, and the famous Cobb salad was born. The Brown Derby invented the celebrity dining experience we know today. But as Hollywood evolved and dining became democratized, the exclusivity that made it special began working against it. The original location closed in 1985, ending an era when dining out felt like stepping onto a movie set. Number 5, Sambo's The Pancake Paradise. Here's a complicated story. Sambo's, founded in 1957 by Sam Battistone and Newell Bonnet, became famous for serving breakfast 24 hours a day, revolutionary before today's all-day breakfast trend. At its peak in the late 1970s, over 1,100 locations served fluffy pancakes and crispy bacon anytime you wanted them. But the restaurant's name, though derived from its founder's name, became controversial due to the association with racial stereotypes. Despite rebranding efforts in the 1980s, public pressure and changing social consciousness led to the chain's decline. The final original location closed in 2020, marking the end of a brand shaped by America's evolving cultural landscape. Number 6, Lum's, where beer met the hot dog. What happens when you steam hot dogs in beer? You get Lum's signature dish that made this chain famous across America. Founded in 1956, Lum's brought a European twist to American casual dining that had never been tried before. Imagine the aroma of Frankfurter slowly steaming in rich beer, creating a flavor profile both familiar and entirely new. During the 1970s, Lum's operated hundreds of locations, each serving this unique culinary experience. But changing health consciousness and evolving fast food competition proved challenging. The last Lum's closed in 2009, taking with it a preparation method that had briefly made beer-steamed hot dogs a nationwide phenomenon. Number 7, Geno's Hamburgers, when football met fast food. Picture this, a Baltimore Colts football legend decides to conquer the fast food world. That's exactly what happened when Geno's Marchetti, NFL Hall of Famer, found Geno's Hamburgers in 1957. This wasn't just another burger joint. It was a celebrity-endorsed empire that dominated the East Coast with the Geno Giant, a towering double-decker burger. By the 1970s, Geno's had become an East Coast institution with over 300 locations. Having a genuine football hero's name on the sign meant something special when athlete endorsements were rare. But when Marriott purchased the chain in 1982, it converted most locations to Roy Rogers restaurants. The Geno Giant was defeated not by competition, but by corporate strategy. Number 8. Red Barn, the restaurant that looked like a barn. Sometimes the most memorable restaurants make you smile before you even walk inside. Red Barn did exactly that with distinctive barn-shaped buildings and country charm starting in the 1960s. The 1970s were Red Barn's golden years, with over 400 locations across America. Their Big Barney Burger became a regional favorite, and their catchy jingle, "When the Hungries hit the Red Barn," became embedded in pop culture. But rapid expansion and corporate instability led to the chain's decline by the late 1980s. Number 9. Pup and Taco, California's quirky fusion pioneer. Long before fusion cuisine became trendy, there was Pup and Taco, a California chain that dared to ask, why choose between hot dogs and tacos when you can have both? Founded in the 1960s, this embodied California's laid-back, anything-goes attitude. You could order a chili dog and beef taco at the same counter, and Californians loved the wonderfully weird combination. During the 1970s, Pup and Taco's orange and white storefronts became familiar sights across Southern California. But in 1984, Taco Bell purchased most locations and converted them to its brand. The unique hot dog taco combination disappeared almost overnight, leaving behind memories of when fast food was willing to be delightfully strange. Number 10. Burger Chef, the innovation station. Before McDonald's Happy Meals, there was Burger Chef's Fun Meal, the first kids' meal combining food with toys. Founded in 1954, Burger Chef pioneered concepts we take for granted today. The first fast food salad bar, the first kids' meal with toys, and early drive-through experiments. This was a company that looked towards the future of dining. By the 1970s, Burger Chef operated over 1,200 locations, making it America's second largest hamburger chain. Their big shelf legitimately competed with the Big Mac. But despite innovations, they couldn't match McDonald's marketing power and operational efficiency. The chain was sold to Hardee's in 1982, ending fast food's most creative pioneer. Number 11, Rack's roast beef, the Midwest's roast beef kingdom. In 1967, Jack Roshman had a simple but powerful idea. Americans deserved better than hamburgers. Enter Rack's roast beef, where slow-cooked, thinly sliced roast beef became the star of the show. During the 1970s and early 1980s, Rack's expanded rapidly across the Midwest, becoming a regional powerhouse with over 500 locations. But the company struggled with identity. Were they fast food or fast casual? The confusion, combined with aggressive competition from Arby's, led to bankruptcy in 1992. Today, only a handful of Rack's locations remain, serving as reminders of what might have been. Number 12, White Tower, the little castle that could. Before there was White Castle, there was White Tower, and these folks took the slider concept and added serious architectural flair. Founded in 1926, White Tower restaurants were designed to look like medieval castles, complete with turrets and crenellated walls. These weren't large restaurants. Most could seat maybe a dozen people, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in pure character. The small square hamburgers were cooked on a griddle right in front of customers, creating an intimate dining experience that felt almost theatrical. White Tower's peak came in the 1950s and 1960s, but they maintained loyal followings through the 1970s, particularly in urban areas where their small footprint was an advantage. However, urban renewal projects and changing neighborhood demographics gradually eroded their customer base, with the last company-owned location closing in 2004. Number 13, the Magic Pan, where crepes became art. Hungarian immigrants Laszlo and Paulette Fano introduced America to something extraordinary. In the 1960s, crepes made not by hand, but by an automated conveyor system that turned breakfast into dinner theater. The Magic Pan wasn't just a restaurant, it was a performance. Customers could watch as mechanized systems dipped heated metal pans into crepe batter, creating paper-thin pancakes filled with everything from chicken and mushrooms to fresh strawberries and cream. The chain expanded rapidly in the 1970s, bringing European sophistication to American shopping malls and city centers. The Magic Pan made crepes accessible to Middle America, transforming an exotic French dish into mainstream dining. But when Quaker Oats acquired the chain in 1982, it struggled to maintain the personal touch that made the original concept special. The automated crepe makers were retired, and with them went much of the Magic Pan's magic. Number 14, the Velvet Turtle. Sophistication served daily. Founded in 1964 by David Talichet, the Velvet Turtle represented everything Americans aspired to in fine dining during the 1970s. Elegance, quality, and just enough exclusivity to make every meal feel special. They were experiences featuring dim lighting, plush seating, and menus emphasizing prime steaks, fresh seafood, and elaborate desserts. This was where middle-class families went to celebrate anniversaries and graduations. The chain's success was built on understanding that Americans wanted to feel sophisticated without being intimidated. The Velvet Turtles struck that perfect balance, upscale enough to feel special, but approachable enough for regular families. However, the casual dining revolution of the 1980s and 1990s made formal dining less appealing. The last Velvet Turtle locations closed in the mid-1990s, ending an era when dinner out was always a dress-up occasion. Number 15, Beefsteak Charlie's, the all-you-can-eat paradise. I'll feed you like there's no tomorrow. That was the promise of Beefsteak Charlie's, and they delivered spectacularly. Founded in 1976 by Larry Ellman, this was the restaurant that turned all-you-can-eat from a gimmick into an art form. They provided unlimited everything: salad, bar, beer, wine, shrimp, and bread. For one fixed price, families could eat until they literally couldn't eat anymore. The concept exploded in popularity during the late 1970s and early 1980s. Beefsteak Charlie's became the go-to destination for large families, teenagers on dates, and anyone wanting maximum value for their dining dollar. But the economics of unlimited everything proved unsustainable. Rising food costs and the occasional customer abuse of the unlimited concept became the chain's decline, with the last location closing in 1992. Number 16, Chi-Chi's Viva la Fiesta. Before Mexican food became mainstream in America, there was Chi-Chi's, the restaurant that introduced Middle America to sizzling fajitas and frozen margaritas. Founded in 1975 by Marno McDermott in Minneapolis, Chi-Chi's brought the fiesta to the Midwest. Walking in was like stepping into a Mexican celebration, with vibrant colors, sombreros, piñatas, and the sound of sizzling fajitas filling the air. By the 1980s, Chi-Chi's had over 200 locations nationwide, making Mexican cuisine accessible to Americans who had never experienced authentic flavors. Their frozen margaritas became legendary, and their sizzling fajitas helped popularize a dish now standard everywhere. But tragedy struck in 2003 when a hepatitis A outbreak linked to Chi-Chi's green onions resulted in several deaths and hundreds of illnesses. The scandal destroyed the brand's reputation, leading to bankruptcy and the closure of all remaining locations in 2004. Number 17, Ground Round, the Peanut Paradise. Imagine walking into a restaurant where throwing peanut shells on the floor wasn't just acceptable, it was encouraged. That was Ground Round, a casual dining chain that made mess making part of the fun. Founded in 1969 by Howard Johnson's, Ground Round was designed as the anti-fine dining experience. The floors were covered with peanut shells, the atmosphere was deliberately rowdy, and kids weren't just welcome, they were celebrated. The 1970s and 1980s were Ground Round's heyday, with hundreds of locations across the country. The restaurant's pay-what-you-weigh promotions for kids became legendary. Children would step on a scale to determine their meal price. But changing attitudes toward cleanliness and liability concerns about the peanut shell tradition gradually eroded the concept's appeal. The chain filed for bankruptcy in 2004, though a few locations still operate without the peanut shells that once made them special. Number 18, York Steakhouse, the cafeteria that thought it was upscale.
What happens when you combine cafeteria-style service with steakhouse quality? You get York Steakhouse, a unique concept that carves steaks to order while customers watch from a serving line. Founded in 1966, York offered something completely different. High-quality steaks served cafeteria style, with skilled carvers slicing roast beef, turkey, and other meats to order right before your eyes.
The chain peaked in the 1970s and early 1980s, when the combination of quality and convenience proved irresistible to busy families. York Steakhouse locations were often found in shopping centers, making them perfect for a quick but satisfying meal during errands. However, the rise of faster fast food options and more sophisticated casual dining concepts left York Steakhouse caught in the middle. The last locations closed in the late 1980s. Number 19, Trader Vic's The Tiki Bar Revolution. In 1934, Victor Bergeron Jr., better known as Trader Vic, opened a small Oakland restaurant that would introduce America to Polynesian cuisine and tiki culture. But it was during the 1970s that Trader Vic's reached its cultural peak. This was an escape to an exotic paradise, with walls covered in bamboo, carved tikis, and fishing nets. The drinks came in elaborate ceramic mugs, shaped like Polynesian gods. The menu combined Chinese, Indonesian, and invented Polynesian dishes that created an entirely new category of American cuisine. Spare ribs glazed with sweet and sour sauce, crab rangoon, and rum flambéed desserts made every meal feel like a vacation. But as the tiki craze faded in the 1980s, Trader Vic's struggled to maintain relevance. Today, only a few locations remain, preserving the legacy of America's most successful tropical fantasy. Number 20, Bonanza Steakhouse, the Democratic Steakhouse. Our final stop takes us to Bonanza Steakhouse, the restaurant that democratized the steakhouse experience for American families. Founded in 1963 by Dan Blocker, TV's Hoss Cartwright from Bonanza, this chain made quality steaks accessible to everyone. Bonanza understood that not every family could afford expensive steakhouse dining, but that didn't mean they should settle for hamburgers. The restaurants offered real steaks, ribeyes, T-bones, and sirloins at prices middle-class families could afford. Add an elaborate salad bar and unlimited bread, and you have a formula for success. During the 1970s and 80s, Bonanza locations could be found across America, often in suburban shopping centers. But changing dining habits and increasing competition led to a steady decline. By 2023, only 3 Bonanza locations remained operational, making it one of the most dramatic declines in restaurant history. These 20 restaurants were dreams that succeeded for decades before the world changed around them. They represented a time when dining out was special, when restaurants had personality, and when every meal could be an adventure. Today's dining landscape has gained efficiency and consistency, but we've lost that sense of discovery, walking into a place unlike anywhere else in the world. Do you remember any of these restaurants? Share your memories, because while these places may be gone, the experiences they created live on in all of us who walk through their doors. The 1970s taught us that restaurants could be destinations, experiences, and memories waiting to be made. Maybe it's time to remember what we've lost and think about what we might reclaim. After all, when Americans want to celebrate, we know how to do it right.